Good afternoon, students. So for today, we will be having a recitation. So I will call you one by one and I will ask with one question. Okay, so here's the question. After this academic year, do you think an evaluation on implementation of the curriculum implemented by the school should be placed or not? So cite one example or situation to support your claim. So start with Carlo Borja.
I think, sir, it should be evaluated because, as I experienced, having no printed modules is difficult. Knowing the differences of students in terms of learning process, skills, and attitude towards education is very essential in implementing an effective curriculum. As digitized modules has been implemented, it took me a lot of time using my phone, reading and understanding my modules, writing down important details about the lessons, and it affects my focus on my studies. It sometimes distracted me and eventually loses my attention. Unlike having on-hand modules is very useful for me to study and learn well, with less distraction, not time consuming and rest, and keeps me on focus. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Mr. Tamayo.
For me, I think the implementation of the curriculum implemented by the school should take place, and at the same time, they have to make sure that the students are all safe. I can say that school curriculum deepens the learnings of the student. It's very helpful for the students to be engaged on the subject or in the content. It's effective to ensure that the set of goals need to be learned by the students are achieved. Yes, I have to admit that learning online is easier. Answering modules is not that hard because you have your parents and relatives to ask that can make you achieve perfect score for your answer sheets. You can search all you want, you can have all the information you need through online. But as you can see on social media, there's a lot of negative feedback. Parents throwing negative feedback to the teachers, teachers defending themselves from the negative feedback. From the negative feedback throwing their students' parents. As we can see, both individuals really needs to adjust from what is happening because of the pandemic. And with that being said, if the school curriculum will take place and at the same time keeping the students safe, respect for the teacher, for the parents, and proper ways for the students to learn will also take place. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tamayo. Next, Miss Padwit. Naka-mute ka. I-unmute mo na. Yan.
Okay.
Go. Go.
For me, yes, it should evaluate the impact of the curriculum on whether it is beneficial to students. Find out its positive or negative impact because not every student has the same learning ability and conduct fair and equality education to improve curriculum implementation. Based on my experience as a student, it is not easy to understand the lesson on your own. And an example of this is the use of Zoom application. We know that not all students have enough needs, and the main problem so often unable to attend class via Zoom is due to the connection, and not everyone is able to provide load due to lack of money, and other students still need to climb to the mountain just to have their mobile phone signal or to attend on their classes. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Padwit. Next is Mr. Ferrer. Ferrer. Ano yung wait lang, Ferrer. Yan. Please unmute mo na yung mic.
In my opinion, it's a bit big yes, because we all know that evaluation is about giving or making a judgment into something. And for me, it's necessary to distinguish whether the curriculum is worthwhile or frivolous. So we should evaluate, examine the curriculum we use. Through this, we are capable of determining the scarcity and shortcomings so that we can rectify and enhance it to become confident and prepared. Because let's admit that none of us are ready. Neither you and I are not prepared for the predicament that we've been encountering, especially these days because of the pandemic. And also, we can deny the fact that it really affects our educational system, especially our learning process. Through evaluation, we can revise and rectify the deficiencies in the curriculum to meet the expectation and standards both of the school and parents. Therefore, evaluation is necessary to examine something or someone to prove whether they are competent or not competent.
Okay na? Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferrer. Next is Mr. Felipe.
Okay, sir. In my own opinion, yes, it is still being implemented. Actually, we do not disregard it. Instead, we make it better. Because the process of learning only affected in the interaction of the teacher and students. Even though we are on a new normal learning, we are still following the curriculum just like before. Example of that is the lesson, evaluation, grading system, rules and regulations, and the quality of service are still on the same process. The curriculum that we implemented are the one who guide us to give a quality education to our learners in this pandemic.
Thank you, Mr. Felipe. So, unahin na natin si Giselle kasi 5% na lang siya. So, Giselle, ikaw na yung next. Okay, yes.
Evaluation on the implementation. For me, I think it's yes. Because this pandemic, this academic year, or after this academic year, we cannot say if the pandemic will end this year. So it is still necessary to use the curriculum for the curriculum. For the example, the Zoom app. We still need to use it to gain sharpness and gain knowledge. So we will continue to use the new curriculum. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Thank you. So, next is Miss Arellano. Okay na?
Okay po.
Okay,
For me, it's a yes. Okay na po ba?
okay na.
For me, it's a yes because it is important to evaluate the positive and negative impacts of the curriculum. Because the result of evaluation tell us what time current limitations of the implemented curriculum, conducting irregular limitations of the implemented curriculum, conduct irregular evaluation of curriculum implementation by this school every year can improve and provide fair and quality education standards and correct mistakes or any kind of flaws in the curriculum itself. For
Okay.
example, would be the use of online applications such as Zoom, Google Classroom. These apps relies on a stable internet connection to provide a good quality of education service. Otherwise, is out of reach for students that live in faraway places that have slow connection of internet or no access at all. Basically, evaluation of curriculum implementation at this school is needed because it enables us to adjust and curriculum to our theme and tailor it aspects. So the curriculum will be status.
Okay na? So, medyo nag-lag siya doon. Next is Miss Valeroso. Sana, Miss Valeroso. Wait lang, Valeroso. Pa-unmute yung ano mo. Okay.
Ayan, okay na.
Okay na. Sige.
For me, it's yes. It's necessary to evaluate and keep the curriculum information up to the school year, since they are represent the instructions, plan, method, and assessment of the specific resources of curriculum. And this guideline helps to achieve the objective in their general subject and to keep the students learning. For example, if the curriculum does not evaluate in their school, unfortunately, the teachers are not yet determined if the methods and strategies they use are effective to achieving the objective for their learners at the end. Yun lang po.
Thank you. Next is Miss Tolentino. Okay, paki-unmute na, Miss Tolentino.
Okay na po.
Okay na. Game.
Yes, I believe that I assume that an evaluation is needed to be get the best response and solution to the difficulties that we are facing now in terms of implementation of the curriculum. Example of this is the teachers in the CRT having an evaluation to know if the students are obtained their understanding of the topic, or they have rants about the teacher and the students. So having evaluation is has a lot of big impact in implementing a curriculum. This will be their guide and goal to reach the best implementation of new curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, Miss Alejo. Okay, paki-unmute na.
For me, it's a yes. We should consider the other things before implementing curriculum. It is necessary for both teachers and students to determine the level of which their curricular program and its implementation have produced positive and curricularly suitable outcomes for students. Yun lang po.
Thank you. So, that's all for today. So, paki-send po yung tawag doon, yung mga answer nyo sa akin para para ma-file ko siya sa MS Word. So, thank you.
Thank you po.
Okay.
Thank you po.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
sir.
po.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye!
Uh,